All right, so I've completed 2 weeks of the RCIA program so far, and it's been good. Uh, Definitely brushing shoulders with the Catholic tradition now. And I will say, though, that the content of the first 2 weeks really could be applicable to any Christian tradition, which I'm happy about. It could be intentional, I'm sure it is on their part, to uh, make it welcoming to those coming in from maybe another Christian tradition. But it's also open to those who are have no prior faith experience in their adulthood. A lot of people there say they had some sort of background of religion, one form of Christianity or another, maybe brought up Catholic but never committed to it. Um, there was one Chinese girl there. She has a Catholic boyfriend, and she's taking RCIA for her boyfriend to give religion for the first time a try because she grew up atheist in China. So that's cool. There's a diverse decently diverse group of people there. And again, I appreciate that it appealed to a broad, general Christian approach to faith and to God and the Bible, and of course to the church and what the purpose the church serves as a place of worship where we come before God. So I think any Christian could go to these first two classes that I went to and be like, oh yeah, that was solid. That was good Christian teaching, and I could ascribe myself to that. So I say all that to say that this is first and foremost for me an interreligious dialogue exercise. And last year I participated in a teacher's fellowship that brought to the table anyone open to interreligious dialogue, but they had scholars available from the Muslim, from Islam, Catholicism, a Protestant scholar, and a Jewish scholar. So we had access to these scholars, and we also had access to each other and we were all educators. And that was a 10-month fellowship that I participated in. Really enjoyed it. So I feel like this is a nice segue, a nice next step for me in my pursuits and interests as a person of faith. So this is good. That I say that to say that this is in my circle of interests, first and foremost. Am I entertaining Catholicism for myself? Yes, and no at the same time. I'm going in open-minded. I have my beliefs. But what I don't think is that my strand of tradition has all the answers. So that means I've got to go outside of my tradition to learn and glean. That's number one for me. And RCIA is a place to do that because they welcome people that are just searching and wanting to learn and glean from the Catholic tradition. I have other interests that I could come on here to talk about, and it's possible that I could segue from one topic to the other. I'm happy to stick with this theme of the RCIA program, but something else that I would love to get on here and talk about is education from a classical perspective, answering big questions like, what does Athens have to do with Jerusalem? If you've heard that phrase before, that question, I believe it comes from St. Augustine's Confessions. But basically, what are we to make of the Greco-Roman tradition? And are we to synthesize or integrate or be in dialogue with? And I, as a Christian, am persuaded the answer to that question is yes. We should be integrated with, we should be in dialogue with. If a central aim of education is the transmission of culture, then we have to understand what we are as the Western tradition downstream of, and that is the Greece, the Greco-Roman tradition, the Roman Empire, and also the Judeo-Christian values. Actually, there's a lot of conservatives too. I mean, some conservatives reject this idea of doing that because they think they're not being faithful to their Christian tradition by stepping outside their tradition to learn from secular, or even diverse religious. For example, like, sorry, in some traffic here. For example, like the Greek gods. Like, why in the world are we going to teach our kids that stuff, right? That's a good question, and I won't go there now. But there's some concerns from the conservative side of things, and yet there are conservatives that champion integration, interaction, and dialogue with these secular and other religious traditions. For example, to name one, Ben Shapiro's great, Dennis Prager. Those are both two guys that are in similar categories, so to speak, but they're great public speakers and they speak to this issue. Jordan Peterson, of course. I guess I think of Ben Shapiro and Dennis Prager as good examples because they're Jews, and yet they're very happy to admit, if this is an admission, but if you want to call it that, but to grant that Christianity has a lot to do with how the West became the West, this tradition that we love and appreciate, respect, and admire. Tom Holland, who wrote Dominion, not Spider-Man, who wrote the book Dominion, said, as a historian and non-religious person, that we owe it to Christianity largely for what the West is and has to offer as a civilization. Again, Jordan Peterson, not a person of faith, although that's kind of changed now. He's kind of like quasi-Christian. His wife converted to Catholicism. He is right there championing the same cause. So I love that subject too, classical education and the debates within it in the Christian circles. That's good stuff too. So, if this Catholicism stuff gets old for people, that's fine with me. I can pivot and go in a different direction.